Oh, hey, welcome to halfway through to next week's... What? That's not an introduction. Fuck.
Yeah, this is why I do them. So, hello and welcome to episode 12.5 of the Pomcast. Oh, damn it!
I'm good at introductions. This is a pomquark.
A pomquark.
Yeah.
We'll continue rambling like we were, and we went overtime.
3, 2, 1.
Bam!
0. Negative 1.
Negative 2. Wait, did we set it to go into negatives? Were there any particular songs that stuck out as Were there any diamonds in the rough? Or
I don't think that's possible for an to have any sort of substance. It's more just like a... I just have no other opinion apart from it.
Seriously, you don't have any other opinion?
No, I listened to it and I was like, well, I don't find this musically particularly interesting. I don't like the guy's voice. And the words, I read them and I was like, as the songs were on, I'm just like, it's particularly... He seems to complain a lot, and that he's... Well, there's one thing is he's always talking about needing more time, or he doesn't have enough time. Like,
yeah.
What are you doing? You had time to write all these songs. Right, instead of writing these songs, go and fix your problems.
Okay, yeah, valid point.
No, sort of. Not really.
Well,
it's not just petty, because you asked me to listen to this, and now,
Yeah, okay, so, yeah, and you got me rambling because I had a headache from the music that you suggested me to listen to. So, that's fine. Did any of... I'm curious, apart from Wonderwall, did any of the songs stick out as something that you had heard before? Did anything twang in the back of your head and go...
Well, I've heard these, but I haven't... I think there's that one, the bit that's... So away. And I don't know if that's just like that small phrase, and then...
That's Don't Look Back in Anger.
Yeah.
The other one that
I don't know.
The other one that I thought you might have heard was Champagne Supernova, which is the last one on the album.
Is that a sun? Champagne Supernova?
No, it was sort of more like it's
said it's in the sky.
Yes, I think it was more of an
atom bomb.
No.
An actual supernova.
No, not an actual supernova, not a bomb.
An aubergine. Bought one. It's in the fridge. Can you see?
I was about to say aubergine in the sense that what they use it for in emojis in text language.
Ah. A big old penis.
I think the point was that the ecstasy point had been reached in the album, and that it ends.
Sorry, just a dramatic effect, and then it ends.
And then
Pause.
It ends. Oh, the podcast is done. Why are we still talking?
No, it's going on forever. 17 years later, we'll still live. Fuck.
Okay, so
yeah, I just what? Okay, what did you want to try and give me through this album?
Well, to me, Oasis as a band is something that, despite the fact that the album came out when I was 2 years old,
1995.
Yes,
I listened to the remastered edition. Yep. Otherwise, it would have been
Despite the fact that it came out in the mid-90s and I was born in the early 90s, the Oasis as a band holds something that it defies time. It speaks to everybody who is in...
An instrument.
No, it speaks to everybody who's in their teens and in their 20s. To me, it captures a rawness of life and talking about, figuring out how to deal with time and not... We think that we don't have enough when we obviously do, and talking about what we want and angst and how to deal with things. And that's why I like it. That's why I go back and listen to it.
I get that, but the problem is I just don't care about this person.
No, I know.
Like, there's no...
It was
a story. Like, the other album I've been listening to this week is the Steven Universe soundtrack Volume 1. Listen to it, man.
Yes.
It's real good.
It is
but
very
the
good.
thing is that, that talks about life and growing up and how to deal with problems and relationships and stuff like that. But the thing is with that, I have hours and hours of TV show context to go along with these musical journeys. So, you just get real sad.
Yeah, I know. Like, there were a couple of points because I listened to the soundtrack on going on a very long bus ride yesterday, and there are points where you are listening to lyrics, and I've seen the episode in particular that it comes from, and it does it reminds you of why it was sung and what it was about, and it is a little bit, it pulls at the heartstrings, and whilst that is really good, Oasis does that in a way that you can apply it to situations in your life. And you use the lyrics to sort of help you in your specific situation. That's why music speaks to people, why some people like some things and why others, you sort of go,
so
yeah,
okay. It's kind of deliberately vague so it can be relatable.
To a certain extent, yes, I would say.
Yeah, I don't find that interesting.
No, which is where I wanted to get to the point, whether that worked for you or not. I had a hunch that it probably wouldn't.
No,
I wanted you to listen to it anyway.
I like specific stories which I have not experienced, but then obviously these stories can have the emotions are the same.
Yes.
But the actual situations are different. Like when I was listening to the music, I was like, what the fuck is happening? Tell me something interesting that happened other than there's a girl and I don't love her anymore and now she's crying. Like, yeah, everyone's fucking done that.
Yeah, I think...
what's special about you?
Yeah.
Why are you telling me this?
I understand, but I think this is where... And this is the same point that came up with the albums that you got me to listen to, which are Limeade and Times Infinity.
Yeah, Limeade's a bit more vague than Times Infinity.
Yes, Times Infinity does make a point in almost every song, and it sort of drove me a little bit nuts because I didn't feel that I could get lost in the music aspect of it because I was too busy concentrating on what he was
saying.
Yeah, not singing,
trying to
saying.
Well, that's because he's a
poet
I know, and a rapper.
Yeah.
I find
that's another thing.
Yeah. Also with Limeade, I don't care about the words. I just like Hiroba's voice. I think is amazing, and I just like the way it sounds. And I don't care really for the words. But Limeade is a cool name.
It is a cool name. The sound construction in that album, yes, very good. I liked his ability with vocal gymnastics, but at the same time, I was lost because it had no point and there was no story. Whereas Times Infinity was sort of the other way around. That there was too much of a story and too much going on for me to actually concentrate on something. And Oasis, for me, finds the middle of that. It's a completely different genre of music, but I can get lost in it, but it still has a point to me.
Yeah, it does find the middle, but it finds the middle of the two things I don't like and the two things you do like.
Yeah, exactly.
But the words are vague and the music is
I don't think the music's because there's a lot of chords going. There's a lot of interesting texture that goes underneath. But, we have different tastes. If everybody in the world was the same, it'd be a bloody boring place and probably look like cheese.
Yeah, they'd all be talking about the same thing and then telling me. I'd be like, why are you telling me this?
I already
know. Boring. I am you.
Yes. So, but yes, I was curious as to how you would respond to that.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yep. David's response to Oasis, what's the story, Morning Glory? There we go. That's your new message tone. That came up at work, but that's something else. I'll talk about that later. That was fucking funny.
Okay.
Anyway, go on.
So Google's DeepMind, probably. One of the AIs, the AlphaGo AI has... Oh, wait. The AI is called AlphaGo, and it plays the game Go. If you know what that is, then
I don't know what
you're probably from China. If you know what that is. It's kind of like... I haven't played it, and I don't know a lot about it, but I've heard it described as simple like chess, but with a really huge depth and to the strategy. Chess is, it's fairly simple rules, but the depth and the strategies is near infinite. So Google made an AI called AlphaGo, and it's beaten everyone now. The best. It's beaten the best Chinese, because Go is a very popular game in China, and the professionals are like gods. So Google beat them, and China kind of censored the AlphaGo match because they have control over everything in the internet. Yeah. So they just kind of were like, this didn't happen. China people are still the best people. China that Go, that didn't happen. Don't freak out. The AIs aren't taking over. It's just us, the local Chinese government. We're taking over. Well, we've already taken over, but they've been in control for ages. But I can understand. It's sort of hard for me to sympathise with them trying to remove it, of saying, this doesn't exist, blah, blah, blah. Because at the same time... That's just a bit funny. It is a bit funny. It just... Didn't want to hurt their national pride by getting beaten by a robot. Yeah, but at the same time, why did Google think it was necessary to build an AI to learn how to do it? Well, it's not just AlphaGo. No, but... These principles can be applied, like, it's the learning algorithms, and also it's the achievement of creating intelligence. Well, intelligence. I was about to say... That is greater than our own, so it's small steps to... I don't know, solving massive problems. If you need a computer to think about stuff, it's very difficult. True, but at the same time, my argument would be, yes, that is great in theory. It's like communism. It's great in theory to have something that's going to be able to fix problems that we, as humans, have struggled with for a while. Yeah, not AlphaGo specifically. No, but at the same time, it's the AIs in general. Forward. Yes. But at the same time, it's going to be used for something very, very morally dubious. It's all the time. It's like, all this. This is why technology drives me up the fucking wall, and it's something that I was reading about. I was curious this week you say, about the impact of typing on our ability to read and how we remember things. Wait, on our ability to read? Yes, and to learn about letters and the structure of things. Now, I found one interesting article that I read. Off a little bit. That's real good. Great. This was brought up by a friend who then who sort of said, I don't think that giving every kid a tablet or a laptop in school is a good thing. And I completely agree. It's because there's too much you can do on them. That is true, and they don't concentrate on the task at hand. And also that there was some research conducted in 2012, and yes, admittedly, it was with a very small pool of children. There were between the age of 4 and 2 months and 5 years old, and there was 15 of them. It's bloody young. Yes, and they're going to pick up a magazine, and try and swipe the pages. Yeah. Idiot. What are you, like 2? Oh, you are. Yeah. Well, 5, but that's okay. And anyway, what the researchers did, and this was published in the Trends in Neuroscience and Education. First, it was the only magazine for the year of 2012, December, if you're curious. And they looked at how they scanned the kids' brains in an MRI machine. Whoa, technology! To find out which areas were active when they were doing set tasks. And they found that between tracing letters and learning from them, handwriting letters or typing letters. So they were given, and they were also given shapes. So there was a shape put up on a screen to look at, and they weren't prompted verbally, but they then had to hit a key or draw it, it was to type or to handwrite. Right. The shape or the letter, and they weren't verbally prompted. They had to just look at it. Okay. And they found that when they drew or wrote the letter, they looked pretty bad. No, there was a lot more surface area in their brain that was actually active and remembering it. So it's because it's a more difficult task. Yes, which is solidifying it in their brains. And this is the thing: if somebody isn't handwriting, which is becoming quite a lost art, particularly in schools, I don't believe,
and I would like to read more about the research that would have been conducted. I don't think that is I don't think that's encouraging the information to settle in their brain. I think if they're just typing something, it's not going to be beneficial for them in the long run. You need to handwrite notes as well.
So that's why when you're in lectures at university, actually, even if you're not, even most of the time you don't even use the notes later because you just look through the slides if you want the correct information. But just writing down stuff
helps
because you go over it and your mind's going to go, how do I write this letter? Okay, that's that word.
Yeah.
And then the word is in your brain hole.
I had a laptop throughout my entire 4.5 years at university, and it got to the point where I was just buying notebooks to take in. I never looked at the notebooks. I did the same thing as what you suggested. I would look at the slides on the way back if I wanted the right information.
Yeah, I don't...
But I remembered writing it down rather than typing it. Because my brain knows where the keys are. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's logging what I'm typing. It's just making my fingers move in the right spot. So... yes, kids shouldn't have access to technology as much as they do in school because they need to learn how to write because it helps them retain information.
Or they just need to use the information that's relevant. And hopefully then they'll retain it, which is what I do. Most of the time I don't even go to lectures, especially in the last semester. I just didn't really go. I was like, I was going to read the slides online and then do the work.
I don't know.
Or just do the work, and if I need help, then I'll just check the slides.
I'm just worried that we're becoming too reliant on tech and we're not actually getting smarter, we're getting dumber because of it. And that really worries me.
To a point.
If there was... I'm not really that worried about sort of the end of the world as we know it and all that kind of stuff. I'm worried that people won't be able to think logically and pragmatically about things anymore.
Yes, they won't be able to solve problems. Because there's intelligence... well, intelligence, not really. It was like database intelligence, where you just remember things and you're writing down things that you remember, which is what most modern education is.
It's regurgitating information.
Here's the information, learn it, and then write it later.
Do a test so we can tell the government that you're doing things.
In 3 months, you'll just write that down. Again, it's like, okay, great. Doesn't actually make me better at doing anything. No. It just makes me know stuff.
That's the problem.
And I'll forget the next semester because I have to replace it with this other stuff. It's like,
you're not taught how to think, and that's the problem. You only get taught how to think if you finished your undergrad and somebody goes, yes, you have the ability to do an honours and a master's and a PhD and everything like that. Now you can think independently. But for the entire 13 years of education, probably the first 7 years you are actually taught how to do the basics, apart from taxes, because, nobody needs to know how to do that, apparently.
It's because they're pretty easy. I just went online and followed the instructions.
But that's not the point. People wouldn't think that is a necessary thing to do, so they coast through life until they get to the point where they're 5 years down the track from when they should have first lodged a tax return, and the ATO sends them a letter, and they go, you owe us $12,000. And they sit there and they're like, I don't understand. What are taxes? Oh no, my parents complain about them because they're selfish fucks.
I don't ever remember learning about taxes. I obviously knew what taxes were.
I had to go and ask my math teacher in year 10 how it worked. And he sat there with me, good on him, for half an hour in his office teaching me how to do my taxes. From that point, I've never forgotten how to do it. And I went, cool.
When I got a job, I just got at the end of the year, the financial year, I got the pay thingy slip.
Yes, your
tax.
PAYG.
Sure, I don't know the actual
your
name.
group certificate.
All right, that'll do. And it was like, here's how much you earn. Put this on the website. Go on the website.
Yeah, we now have MyGovern. That makes it a lot easier.
I mean,
if you can actually get MyGovern
if you can get on it. If once you're in,
it's
usually pretty good, unless you're trying to change your address or something. I tried to do that when I moved here. I log in and go to change address. Screen just doesn't load.
I didn't even do that.
I just gave up at the end.
I'm sure that Immigration and Border Force know that I'm here.
Yeah, they sent me an email saying you've been out of the country for the more than the maximum time allowed. I think it was
really
4 weeks. And then it was like, your youth allowance has been cut.
Oh, yeah, that's because you're still with DHS on Centrelink. That's fine, because I'm not. I'm thinking, you got an email?
Yeah.
Like I thought it was from Border Force. So
no, not from Border Force. You're being deported.
We're bringing you back and we're putting you in jail.
No.
Barnaby Joyce is going to yell terrorism and testicles at you for a long time.
Oh, okay. That's pretty interesting.
Barnaby Joyce.
Lol.
But anyway, we've gone a little bit over time. Had a bit of a rant.
Do you like Microsoft Windows?
Not really. Why?
Everyone loves Microsoft because they're real good.
Yep, that's just...
So you know how Windows 10 spies on everything that you do?
Yep.
Well, the enterprise editions of Windows 10 are meant to have this... They have this feature called Group Policy, which allows you to control the features of all the Windows machines in your enterprise. Yes. All the computers you can change it once, and it will be updated throughout your entire network. There's buttons, like there's options to turn off the telemetry and all the spying shit, but they don't work. They don't actually work.
Oh, for God's sake.
It doesn't actually turn off all the features that you tell it to. Microsoft's response was, why are you messing around with group policy anyway? Because that's the whole point of it.
Yeah. It's whoever said, and to a certain extent they were right, that information is vital and key to winning a war. It was probably World War I or World War II that this stuff started. You know, espionage and all that kind of crap. Whoever said that, then somebody from the technology department of the army or whatever then sort of went, oh yeah, that's good. And then they created a computer and they went, oh, but if we know everything about everybody, we can control it all. And it's like, yes, you can, but you're a fucking horrible person.
Yay.
So, yep, technology, woo. Then again, I have 2 Apple products. I've sold my soul.
Yeah. At least Apple's not meant for the enterprise, and if they did make stuff for the enterprise, they'd probably do it right. Or Apple would just remove the options. You wouldn't even have options.
No, you wouldn't have options.
Because Apple knows how. I was watching a bit of a video of Steve Jobs. In I think it was 1997. Some guy asked him at one of the Apple product things.
Yeah.
Kind of insulted him about this. Some program that was like no longer supported.
Yeah.
And just like kind of asked a question and insulted him in the same sentence, and he was like, But he did make some very good points about like the sacrifices that you have to make to progress forward and make things better.
Yes.
Whereas a lot of Apple does that very well. If a feature isn't working, they don't just leave it there and put it into maintenance or just stop supporting it. They'll just get rid of it and be like, it's gone. Because why are we developing this if we don't want it? It's just cut.
They have done that so many... iTunes is the best example of that. That has gone... It's now, what, on like version 26,000. But
I haven't used iTunes in forever.
But it gets to the point where when it gets updated and you think, oh, they've updated it. And then you go, I like that new feature. This one's a little bit shit. And then another update will come out and they've sort of changed the layout. And it's gone, oh, that shit feature was removed already. Oh, great. And they've sort of put things back a little bit to what we're familiar with.
Yeah.
Like it's constantly changing. And I like that.
They cut things out to keep the code base fresh and stuff doesn't get just like lost. Clogged and they don't just keep shoving features on top of it like Adobe do with all their products. They are so badly optimized, all of Adobe's products, because they keep just shoving stuff on top of stuff like Microsoft. It's like they don't know how Windows works anymore. They just keep putting layers upon layers of abstraction until it looks nice now. Yeah, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work very well because you got this system trying to interface with this. You can run programs from the 90s on my computer and they'll still work.
Yeah.
You probably couldn't even run programs from the last version of Oaseh on your laptop.
No, I did find out somebody was complaining to me that something they were using, they updated to the new Oaseh, which I hadn't done. It came out when I bought the Mac, so that was the last financial year that I bought that. I've just updated. Somebody I know had updated at the same time and then sent a message going, why won't this work? And I'm like, it's not supported by the new OS X. So it's kind of like...
Update your programs or just...
Yeah, or change them, because it obviously wasn't working, and I'm sorry. But I appreciate Apple for what they do.
They're very good at making sacrifices, and if they are cutting a feature... they're making it's not going to be done lightly.
No.
There will always be a certain amount of people which you cannot please. They'll just complain.
Exactly. They understand that. It's the same thing, though, with the App Store in the sense that in advertisements and things, I don't get spammed with crap that I've looked on with Safari. I don't. I get spammed on things. I get shown suggestions from what I've searched on the App Store itself. So it's not universal with Apple if you search something on one program that they make and you use another that it's going to crop up. It does so with Facebook, because Facebook knows when you search through the browser and say I was looking at...
Bears.
No, I was looking at Kia's website and then I logged into Facebook Next and Kia advertisements were on it. And then a week later, I was looking at a stationery company because I was looking at pencils because for some reason I wanted pencils. Then pencil ads came up on Facebook. So Facebook tracks it, and that annoys me. But Apple, they probably do, but they don't shove it in your face, and they don't use it with advertisements and things like that.
Well, they just use it to sell you more Apple products.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is what you do when you buy a Mac. You go, I have a Mac, and now I'm going to buy all these other Apple products.
Because they work together.
That's the whole point.
Because when I take a photo on this, my iPhone, it then saves it to the Mac, so it doesn't use the hard drive space on this, which I've learned now, after fiddling with it. Because I didn't know. But it saves it to... Yeah, it saves it to the cloud, which I have turned on, and that's one of the few things that I have turned on with it, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But Windows shit.
Is piece of shit. You're a piece of shit, Windows, but at least you can run FL Studio, which is what I use to record this. So please don't hurt me. And also, don't blue screen, because otherwise this last 52 minutes of recording...
You've bought it up now, and it's going to do it.
It's going to blue screen. It blue screened like a minute into the first try.
Thank fuck that there was nothing worthwhile in that first minute.
Oh man, imagine if it blue screened now.
I'd be happy to do it again.
Yeah, that'd be really great.
Yeah. So next week, do you want to get pizza when we do this?
I could go for some pizza. We can use this handy dandy
stuff. It got put through the hole in the door where the mailbox should be.
Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
Oh. It's probably shit, but
it's very expensive.
Wedges reloaded. Why is not in bold, but loaded is?
Because they're loaded fries. Or loaded wedges in this case.
All right. Okay.
Also, I don't like the font they've used for wedges.
Wedges.
That's okay, though. Yeah, so we'll get pizza next week.
Warm cookie dough and ice cream. £4.
I know, it's fucking expensive.
What the fuck? For a cookie and a scoop of ice cream? Mm-hmm. Jesus Christ.
Anyway, goodbye. We've had our rant.
Yes.
See you next week.
That's the end.
I want to meet lovers.
Really? Like, the Supreme comes with all the meat as well. And some vegetables.
I don't like capsicum.
What about olives?
Yeah, they're okay.
You can order online. Coleslaw.
We'll then get advertisements from Pizza Hut for the next 6 months.
Fuck.